It's April, so it's time for another revision of Ubuntu to come out, 20.04 this time. So it's an LTS release, which means they're going to support it for, I think, 5 years normal and 7 years for extended. So I'm going to go just take a look at it on a few different pieces of hardware, look at the desktop and server version, just see what kind of issues you get, see if they've added anything new and exciting, just see kind of how it goes. So now I have the live disk booting up on this system. It's an AMD FX 8350 with an R9 290 and an SSD, so it's going to be a moderately fast system that's somewhat newish. I guess AMD FX they just kept updating. And it looks like they've added a check here. I don't know if you can show it. Yeah, it looks like probably, I don't know if it's running a file system check or if they're checksumming it. I know a lot of distros do checksums of live disks, which is realistically a good idea. It's definitely pushing a lot of I/O on my bootable drive. And it's nice they let you do a skip of it. One thing I kind of noticed with a lot of like Linux issue reviews and first looks and stuff is there's kind of a lot of, well, they've added all these features, and I was like, well, I guess they did, but also a lot of those are, oh, they added some new feature in the GUI, and that's GNOME, and I guess that's kind of the nice part about the Linux community. It's not just one person pushing features. There's kind of a lot of people, and as they bring new versions, you get experience kind of everyone's new features at the same time as they push it, which, and I guess part of what Ubuntu is it's kind of a nice, they take everyone's features, they put it together, and they kind of make it one stable thing. And Ubuntu's relatively stable, relatively well supported, and just kind of works, I guess, for the desktop. There's a lot less kind of fuss, there's a lot more community, which is a lot of why you'd go with Ubuntu over something else. This here is the normal Ubuntu desktop OS, so it's running with a full GNOME GUI. Looks like GNOME 3, they have added the left bar compared to standard GNOME 3, but that's about it. And they've added a theme mod. I like the theme they have. I used to kind of hate the purple and put a lot of effort into removing every little bit of purple that Ubuntu would get, but now I'm kind of like, I don't mind this. I kind of like the dark purple and kind of dark orange. It used to be a lot brighter, I think. And the icon pack I like, but it's also aesthetics. You can easily go and throw a version with a different GUI on it. So I think you can get standard GNOME on these. You can get KDE, you can get one of the lighter weight desktops like LXDE or XFCE. So kind of it's pick what you want. We're going to say install third party and see how it goes. I do have internet on the system, so we can do that. And then we give it a sec. So it looks like you give the options to erase, install, or something else. Yeah, reasonably nice. One thing I get about Linux distros is a lot of our partitioning. I've gotten to the point where I know how to set up partitions manually and make it work. But for a lot of people who don't do that, it's kind of, you want a reasonable one. We're going to say erase disk and use ZFS. I wish they'd use LVM by default or use encryption, but eh. They still say ZFS is experimental. Here I am logged in for the first time. Yeah, you get the option to sign into online things, you get live patch, and that's it. You could say, tell them not to send you info. What does it want to send you? Basically, that's pretty boring. That just says time zone and processor settings and just hardware. But, we're not going to send it. And yeah, you can turn that off. Okay. Yeah, so this really hasn't changed much, and as I looked at it earlier, it's that. So I think a lot of it comes down to, does stuff work? So, pretty standard desktop system from a couple of years ago. I haven't tweaked anything, so if I open like Firefox, let's see if we have internet. I'm pretty sure I do. But we seem to. If I can go to, let's open up YouTube. Yep, that works fine. There you go. Let's go to other common programs. So, Steam. Steam's pretty common, got reasonable Linux support now. So let's see how the install process is for this. Ubuntu software, let's poke around there. You get LibreOffice, that's cool. What else do you get installed with the default install? Disk usage, okay. Standard little utilities. A few small games, that's about it. So it's actually not that bad. And I like Ubuntu gives you a little bit of just kind of extra goodies, like Romania is nice to have installed. I like using that. Transmission, I guess, is nice. You get a few more things, and if you don't want those, use the minimal install. So, can't really complain there. We can see we have that with a lot of software, so if you want to install something like Atom, I don't know why it's feeling slightly sluggish. I don't know if that's just me or if it's a hardware, because it's on an SSD, it should be reasonable now. Let's get Steam installed here. So if I just save, oh, it wants to open it with Archive Manager. Why does it want to open it with Archive Manager? Yeah, that's odd. I mean, I guess it is technically an archive, but can I easily open this in the GUI? So, like, part of this is I know I can open it with the, part of using Ubuntu is, I know I can do this all in the command line and do it. I know that, but not everyone else does, and the point of Ubuntu is kind of be that OS for not everyone else. So, I can do it, and it's kind of annoying they set that as a default, but there you go. Linux has kind of moved a bit where you don't have the same exe file where you just run stuff from the internet. The idea is to run it from repos, so there you go. And then let's see if it works. I have an AMD R9 290 in here, which should work fine. But we'll see if it just works out of the box. And what we get now. Okay, so it wants to just install more packages now. It's odd it does that. It needs to do it now, but... And Steam, for some stupid reason, is still on 32-bit. But, quick ran over. So, basic GUI stuff is fine, but I feel the way is you gotta play with it more. Let's go play with this system a little. Basic GUI usage is definitely fine. I don't see any obvious issues. Windows seem fine. Nothing seems super laggy. Programs like Steam are installing fine. Oh, it looks like we got updates. ZFS. Oh, this is odd how it shows these. I've never super liked the GNOME file manager, but no obvious issues, which I think is the best part. No news is good news when it comes to this. So here I fired up The Binding of Isaac, which is a nice little game. Runs fine on here, so there you go. Steam runs pretty much no issue. Only thing I had to do is know to right click and run it there, which I guess that probably is a don't open it with the tarball. Downloads happen quickly on here. No real issue. Can't really say anything bad. So it runs fine. Well, let's go try it on a bit slower of hardware and see if that's okay. Because while Ubuntu is not aimed for lower end hardware, I have a Core 2 Quad system here I can go try it on. So this here is a Core 2 Quad test bench I've had for a little bit. It has a 10 gig NIC, but other than that, it's 2 gigs of RAM. Core 2 Quad Q9450. Quadro FX 3800, so it's a bit older. It's probably about 10-year-old, 12-year-old hardware at this point, and not great. We're going to also give it an old hard drive, because a lot of systems really struggle when you put them on hard drives, and we'll see how well it's optimized for that. Here I am running Ubuntu 20.04 on a system with 2 gigs of RAM and a 250 gig hard drive, so definitely far from the fastest of specs. This also has the minimal installation, so we can see how much fewer software you get now. So we can see a lot of like the little games you get, like the torrent software it comes with. LibreOffice doesn't come with it, so it's a good amount more cut down. But if we want to, let's say, what's something someone would want to do? Maybe like System Monitor. If we open that, you can definitely feel it taking a second or two. But, it comes up. So that's definitely the hard drive we're waiting on. Memory usage, we're seeing at 1.3 megs. Oh, look, they've added cache usage, which is kind of cool. It's definitely usable if you have to use something like this, but I wouldn't suggest it, and I'd definitely go with a much lower performance distro if you can get away with it. I'd go with the new versions of like Ubuntu or Xbuntu. I have no idea how you're supposed to pronounce those. And we can see we've started to use 255 megs of swap. Another use of Linux I use quite a bit is running it in virtual machines for doing normal tasks, but in virtual machines. So I wanted to test it in Hyper-V today. I'm just seeing if it throws any weird issues, see how the graphical performance is. This is Windows 10 1909 with Hyper-V, and we're going to see how it goes. Well, here it is booted into the live disk. I'm going to say we're going to just install it now. Let it go. And it looks like it's the same install. One thing I do notice, this is bad graphical performance. And unfortunately, they removed the option for virtual GPU acceleration. Or remote FX, yeah. They just say you can't use that anymore. Technically you can, but you have to do it all in PowerShell. So, that's annoying. So it looks like graphical performance is still pretty meh. Here I am using the system on Hyper-V. Graphical performance is far from great, but I'd say usable. We can see it does do, the shared memory seems to be working okay. So if I look in Hyper-V now, it has assigned 5 gigs. That's a bit high. It's using quite a bit of my memory, so it's not as good as a Windows VM when it comes to sharing, it seems like, of resources. Yeah, and it's using 164 megs of swap. That's large. I have one of my servers here. It's a dual 1366 server with dual L5630 quad cores and 48 gigs of RAM with a few hard drives. We're gonna go take a look at it running Windows Server, see how it goes, see if anything kind of cool happens, anything new has changed. I have it booted from the live server install disk, so I can see it has the new installer style. I think they've added in 1804, but I might be wrong. It's a bit different than the older, more traditional Debian-based one. So it sees my network card out of the box, which is nice. I can set up just DHCP for this guy. We're going to say done, ask for a proxy, what mirror we want. We're going to just use this whole disk I have here. We're going to set it up with LVM. They don't have any ZFS storage support, it looks like. Get the option to install like SSH server by default, which is nice. Import keys if you want to do it. And then they give you the option to install a ton of common software, so like Docker, Nextcloud, PowerShell, Stress. So here's the Ubuntu server system. Nothing too exciting, hasn't really changed too much. Apparently they've added, looking through the feature list, some things like better two-factor authentication, which is really nice as it is a major source of security issues. I've also tweaked this. I think a lot of it is just they just put packages together, they've gotten updated, and they just work well together, and it's supported. So all in all, I'd say Ubuntu 20.04 has been pretty good. I tried it on 4 different systems. All ran pretty well, no significant issues. It's a good, just Linux distro. No major complaints, it's stable, it works, it has features. I think the interface is pretty. I don't really have much to complain about. So if you want a distro, it looks pretty good. Go play with it on your own systems. Let me know if you have other issues with it that I haven't found.